Well, hello, Angie.
Well, hello, Rebecca. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you as always.
And glad to have our listeners here with us again today. Thanks for tuning in. If you are tuning in as a repeat listener, we love having you here. And if you're just tuning in to What in the Well for the first time, welcome. And Rebecca and I always, our intention is to bring you real-time, relatable, practical tips for the things that we're experiencing in our lives as working moms and working professionals, with the hopes that maybe a tip or two resonates for you for where you're at in your life's journey. So
Yeah,
happy to be here. Good to see you, Rebecca. Let's have
you
some
as
fun
well.
today.
All right, let's do it. So, Angie, this making decisions when you are stuck is our topic today.
Oh my
And
gosh,
I
yes.
have to be honest with you. I am like, if I had another job besides being, a life and business coach and a mom and whatever else I do, I think making decisions when I'm stuck, I think being stuck could be a job of mine. I just really like it's almost a recreational thing for me at this point. Like, what could I get stuck thinking about? So,
And then
uh,
the stuckness, if you're like me, then the stuckness just keeps compiling. Like I'm stuck, and then another stuck thing comes, and another stuck. I'm in a season of suck. I didn't mean to say suck. Maybe I did. Maybe
that
that was
was,
a Freudian
I
slip,
was just
right?
going to say, well, being stuck
Because
sucks.
being stuck
It's,
sucks.
it's the worst. I hate it so much.
I have been in a season of stuck myself. So I'm really glad that we're going to unpack this together today.
Yeah, me too. So tell me a little bit about that. What's up? What's going on?
Okay, let me one particular thing. So I'll share one example of where I'm experiencing some stuckness now. And it's starting to, the longer the stuck happens, I think the harder it is to pull yourself out. So I've been experiencing, and I have a, listeners, this might be too much information, but here we go. Real, authentic, and relatable, right? Some health issues. So I've been having some health issues with diverticulitis, and I've had reoccurring cases for the last couple of years. I would say in the last month or so, a mild case has popped up, and I'm stuck. I'm on this like liquid diet, first of all, and like low fiber. So like how much, like even right here, how many more jellos
Oh,
and applesauces and like can I eat in a day, and chicken broth? Like I am stuck trying to get my digestive health back in order while eating nothing but like liquids and low fiber. There's no creativity in um my what's not the menu, but what I'm eating whatsoever. It's so boring, it's so bland, and I'm really confused on what my body needs right now. So I'm stuck. I am finding myself stuck. The emotion around it is frustrating. I'm confused because I don't know exactly what is needed to help heal this. I am lost at best because this has been going on now for I'm into a month. I'm a little worried about, is there underlying things? So there's emotion, there's a narrative that I got going on in my mind. And yet the actions I'm choosing to take are like, ask for help. That has been my thing. Like, where do I need to ask for help? And what do I need to learn? And how can I try some things? I'm willing at this point. I'm like, just tell anybody, even if there's a listener out there that knows how to heal this, like, please DM me so I can 911 get out of this and back to a place of restorative health. So I'm stuck right now in a little bit of a physical issue that I'm working in.
yeah. Well, so speaking of suck, I mean that stuck sucks.
Stuck sucks. I mean, I hurt right now. I'm sitting here like while I'm having, I feel for people that experience chronic pain
Yeah.
with no, I know like it's hard. It's been this chronic pain in my side. I know it's my body signaling something to me. So I'm listening, trying to understand, like, okay, body, what am I, what are you trying to tell me?
Right.
So anyway, so how about you? So that's a little, so that does suck. How about
Yeah.
you?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I feel for you. And I know anybody who's listening, who's especially anybody who's had chronic pain or we've all had some issues before physically where we feel stuck, and that mind body connection is so strong that it's hard not to get out of your own head about it. And I heard you say a lot of things like confused, worried, anxious. It sounded like kind of desperate to get help, right? I mean, you can't leave your body for any reprieve right now. I feel for you. That sucks.
Yeah.
That stuff sucks. Yeah. Well, my stuckness is it's less physical only, although back to that mind body connection, when my mental self feels stuck, my body starts to take that on. And sometimes our bodies can be our greatest indicator that we are stuck when we're trying to ignore that inner anxiety that's like, you got to make a change. Our bodies do not lie to us. And so I have gone from being in my head about something to starting to feel like my physical body is like telling me to do something different. So I've got to take action. But my stuckness is really around my career path right now. I have been loving business and life coaching, but I've also been doing some marketing, and I've been doing marketing for 20 years, and I've been, hands-on marketing consultant. I've been a strategist, but I'm ready to let that part of my life go. But it's just a hard season of transition. It's also humbling to go from being, I hate using the word expert, but very well versed in something and putting it on a shelf permanently, and not being lured back into the temptation to take on other people's marketing problems just because I can, when I know deep down inside it's comfortable, it's familiar, but I know that if I do that, I will remain stuck in something that my brain and body are telling me it's time to let go and move forward. So it's keeping me stuck from being able to continue to grow as a life and business coach, because I just don't have that capacity. And so I'm starting to think about, okay, well, one of the solutions I always try to go to, which I'm kind of putting in air quotes because I don't know if it necessarily always solves the problem. But I'm trying to find a way to very quickly fill what I'm afraid will be a void in my life. When I remove marketing, I'm trying to fill that void with something else. So you and I have talked about this outside of the podcast, but I'm looking for training. I'm looking for credentials. I'm looking for something that's going to kind of like occupy me and make me feel like I can be more confident in my growth and getting out of this stuckness. I'm so afraid of being stuck for long that I'm clamoring.
Like fill it up with something else before it might not even be the right next thing.
What
emotions are here for you in the stuckness?
Yeah, I don't want discomfort. I am creating discomfort by being afraid of discomfort. And so it's just,
so you're all raveled up in the discomfort.
Well, I'm toggling,
but for the wrong reasons though, right? Because it's trying to fill an old maybe thing that you need. So what other emotions are there? There's
just a lot of fear, anxiety. And then I have a habit where if my anxiety goes on for too long, then I start to get depressed, because depression is the ultimate stuckness. Like my brain knows anxiety tricks us into feeling like we're productive. I actually was listening to a summary of a book that is about overcoming anxiety, is the name of the book. And the author talks about how anxiety actually feels like a reward to our brain sometimes, because it tricks us into feeling like we're being productive. Yeah. And so I know that when it's time for my anxiety to subside, that there's a very strong possibility that I will become more depressed, and I will stay stuck in that depression until I make a change. So that's where I'm at. And that sucks too.
That
sucks too.
Yes. Well, here's the thing, listeners, here's what, it's coming up as we think about like tips and tricks is, number one, what you heard of Rebecca and I just share, this is real. These are things that we're acknowledging it. So the sooner you can just acknowledge what it is and just come out with it. So awareness. The other thing is, in stuckness, there's emotions involved. So if you're able to identify and even write down, what are the emotions that I'm feeling around this stuckness? What's interesting is that mine started in the body, but it has impacted my thoughts and my emotions. Rebecca just shared a great example, and thank you, Rebecca, for being vulnerable, of how hers started in her thoughts and how it's now translating to the body. It's so connected. So no matter where you start with the stuckness, whether it's something physical or mental or in emotions, it's going to translate to the other pieces. So identifying, number one is identifying it. Second is asking yourself, what emotions are here? You heard Rebecca and I, there's some fear and anxiety in both of these scenarios and stuckness. That's very common, and it's okay as you're feeling stuck, but acknowledge it. Then the second thing is, or the third thing is, what's your narrative? What's the narrative and your mindset? So Rebecca and I unpacked a little bit about, here's the story I'm telling. I think that I got underlying issues and I'm probably going to die at 45, right? That's ultimately what my narrative is telling me. That's not helping me get unstuck, right? Rebecca talked about her narrative around, Rebecca, like, ultimately,
Yeah.
what's your end story here with your
Oh,
situation?
sure. I mean, so being in my 40s as well, my narrative is like, how can you switch careers at this point? How can you go all in on something and vacate everything that you've been doing for 20 years? What a waste of time. This pivot might not work out. What if you end up like not fulfilling your life's purpose? I mean, there's just so much
Yeah.
grandiosity in that thinking too. It's
And
like,
look, and we're not our stories, right? We are
right.
not these narratives. And how do we stop ourselves? So listeners, when you're stuck, what emotions are there, write out or really spend time setting aside, what is the narrative that you are telling yourself around this, and what pieces are true, because most of them are not. Like, most of the narratives are not true. And then what support and help do you need? Like, what's the action plan to go forth? And it might not be the right thing, but can you start to explore what options are available? So like for me, I'm reaching out to my GI doctor. I'm working with a nutritionist. I just am like, okay, I need to do some things for my physical health and exercise. I'm trying these thinking things, seeing which foods work. I'm writing down everything that I'm eating. I don't know that any of this is going to solve it, but I'm trying and I'm practicing. How about you, Rebecca? What are some things that you're doing to take action
Yeah.
to
So
work through it?
I'm really trying to shift my mindset into one of curiosity right now, because I have this tendency to want to find the next big thing, when the best thing that I can do in this type of situation is pay attention to those, what I've heard called micro yeses. What are the little things that I can say yes to right now and be curious about and explore, that I don't have to commit to for the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be the big thing, but what am I feeling? What is guiding me toward a new pathway? And what are those little steps that I can take, and contained in a day, right? I just try to
Micro.
put today in a box and do the next right thing today. Don't worry about solving the whole big life existential crisis
Yeah.
issue,
Yeah.
right?
What's the next right thing? This morning, for example, I woke up, I did a 10-minute healing meditation for gut health. 10 minutes, small. That was a micro yes. I packed my lunch for work because, and so I'm eating the right things according to the diet. Micro yes. I need to make sure I'm consistently getting a lot of water intake. Micro yes. Micro yes is setting up my GI follow-up appointment with my doctor today. Micro yes. Is that solving the big problem? Ultimately, no, not yet, but I'm taking the steps to get there.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think too, I mentioned discomfort earlier, where I'm anticipating discomfort, I'm having discomfort, and I'm looking for ways that I can tamper that. And ultimately, I just have to look at all of the emotions that I'm feeling as clues toward what I should be doing next. And if I have historically in my younger years been really, really good at doing everything that I can to not feel things. If I can glaze over them with substances, I will. I used to a lot more, but
Mhm.
I'm always looking for kind of a way to tamper discomfort. And really, I have to look at those pieces of discomfort as just clues to what
It's
I'm
just
feeling.
clues.
Yeah, they're just clues.
And you mentioned a word earlier is curiosity. How do you lean into that discomfort with curiosity?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be learning here? What is here? What is making me want to do that?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to say that it sucks, because it does. Being
It
stuck
does.
sucks. But find some people that you
Sucks.
can confide in, whether
Yeah.
that's a therapist, a counselor, a coach, a friend, find somebody that you can talk to about it who is willing to sit in the suck with you and feel safe in the midst of suck. So it's hard. It is a really hard thing, and we all get stuck every now and then. So
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
It is. And hopefully the tips that we provided you today as we wrap is the framework is acknowledge it. Ask yourself what emotions are, what is it that you're stuck in? What are the emotions that are there? What's the narrative that you're telling yourself? Take, like Rebecca said, micro yeses, small. The only way to get out of a stuckness is small steps forward, and ask for help. Whether you're researching it online, like Rebecca said, there's lots of resources out there. So Rebecca, I wish you small micro yeses even today. What can you do today to slowly get unstuck with yours? I'm going to continue to figure this stuckness out for me, my physical health. And I hope the next time we show up with our listeners, we're a little less unstuck.
Well, I look forward to hearing how all of those micro yeses have worked out and what you've learned. I'm really concerned about your health. I'm sorry
I
that's
am too
happening.
for you too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Even if we're not completely unstuck, you and I are here for each other and here for our listeners as well. So I don't
Absolutely.
feel alone, and I hope you don't feel alone either.
Absolutely.
All right, all. So thanks for tuning in for this today's episode. Have a great rest of the week and be well.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of What in the Well. Be sure to review, rate, and subscribe to our podcast. And if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, share it in the comments. Stay well until we meet again.